So, I hope that grasps a tangible understanding of what it is. If you don't understand, please comment, and I will try to give you a different example that might be easier to understand for you. So, um, my next part is to explain my job and degree. So, as I said earlier, I am a night shift employee at a warehouse. I'm not anything impressive. I'm a minimum. Oh, I'm not minimum, but I'd make a lot more than minimum. But um, I'm not something society would deem as impressive in any fashion, and I don't care. I want to. If I find success in life, then I find success. Maybe not. I don't care. But that's me. I'm a warehouse employee. So if I'm having these thoughts, I'm sure someone is way more intelligent people out there than me. Um, that isn't going to sound well after I say what my degree is, but my degree is a mathematical physics degree. Um, it is a harder degree, and it is a really, really worthwhile degree if anyone is interested in math and physics. Um, Math really is the language of logic. It's a it's a framework for logic, at least, and you can explain natural phenomena using things like differential equations. Don't worry about it's a big word. Don't worry about it. If you don't understand it, don't feel threatened by the word. It is a really cool concept of formulas that simulate how the universe works. And it doesn't even simulate, it is how the universe works in most cases. Think of formulas like E equals mc squared, Newton's F equals ma. Both of those are differential equations that explain how the universe works. And then the physics half of my degree, I find it works really well. And it allows me to think outside of the box when I'm working, to be creative and learn. And that's a good thing. I really like my physics degree. Like, I have to move pallet jacks a lot. So, a good way, sorry, back up for a sec. Yeah, so I'm gonna explain it. So we have boxes on a pallet jack. This we just have a pallet with boxes on it. Um, they are fumbling all around. They'll fumble a lot. So if you don't do it right, they can fall all over the floor, and you have to pick them all up and reorganize them. And my physics degree actually helps me manage these boxes in ways that allow me to lower the chances of it falling while still doing my job effectively. So just minor things like that, because to explain, I put a pallet jack in here. When you are turning a pallet jack, so we'll just call that a pallet jack. There's the wheels. And so when I put it in and I've got all the boxes, you turn. Have you ever wondered to yourself, in a car, you probably thought of it more when you were a kid. You probably don't think of it too much now, but when you were a kid, you probably did. I know I certainly did, and I feel like a lot of people do. Have you ever wondered why, when you're turning, the force is that way? When you're turning, it's the opposite direction of your turning. It goes outward of the turn. That is because of the normal force here, which is no, sorry, this is the normal force over here. If you take physics, it's just a force that is the opposite. Have you ever wondered why gravity doesn't pull you just through the earth into the center of the earth, and crushes you? Have you ever wondered why you still are able to walk and you can lift your feet and whatnot. That's because of the normal force. The normal force acts as a counterbalance force to every force. Every force that is applied, there is an opposite and equal counter reaction. That is the normal force. So gravity is a force that pulls you down. So you are pushed up by the normal force to counterbalance it. So it's only works on because there's land here. If there was no land, yeah, you would just go straight into the center of the earth and go splat, and you'd experience the normal force when you go splat. But yeah, I'm rambling now. So, but it's because this force is it doesn't actually exist. I know that's a weird concept. How does the normal force exist if that one doesn't exist? Yeah. That's how centripetal force works. It's a force that doesn't exist. That's why you only experience this force when you are turning in a car. And you can do that for pallet jacks. So if I put it in and I have my pallet jacks, if I'm turning, I want the side that's less likely to fall to be on the outside. While on the inside, I want the more likely to fall because the force doesn't exist. So the boxes aren't going to fall. It's this that will experience it. So just thinking outside the box like that. And that's why I like physics degrees. But sorry for my ramble. Let's get back to the subconscious. How to use the subconscious. So the subconscious is basically when you are, as I already explained, doing a task and it gets monotonous and you are familiar with it. Have you ever, you've all heard of the quote, the complacency quote. Comfort breeds complacency. I don't remember, something like that. But when you're in this state, you often ponder. You unconsciously ponder. You just have random thoughts. I'm sure you've all are aware of what I'm talking about now, but I'm describing it. But it's just like when you're doing something and the task gets done. So you're pondering, you're thinking. We'll just put thoughts. This is you or me, whoever. I'll just put viewer. So you, the viewer, are doing a monotonous task. Say you're in a, like, this can be any different ways. So when I'm doing work, I get into this state because I'm so familiar with my work that I don't think while working anymore because I've been doing it for years. So another way thing, like I want to provide as many examples as possible just so you can start to become more aware of when you're in the state. So when you're playing like an MMO, massive multiplayer online, like obviously the first one that comes to mind is World of Warcraft, let's say. If you're grinding in an MMO and you're familiar with the boss, you probably go into this subconscious state because you're so familiar with beating him that it's just natural to you. So there's another example that's completely different. A video game example. Usually work and school, though, are the more common examples, especially, actually I'll get to that later. So yeah. So how do you use the subconscious exactly? When you're in this state and you're having thoughts, usually these thoughts are useless. You don't think, so it's because you're not aware that you're in the subconscious state. But if you are able to consciously become aware that you are in a subconscious state, it is very similar to having a lucid dream in the unconscious state. I'm sure you've all heard of it, where you fall asleep and you can manipulate the world around you just because you're semi-conscious. So if you can do this in the subconscious state and become semi-conscious of your own thoughts that you're thinking, you can actually influence the subconscious directly. So if you start thinking about self-criticism, healthy self-criticism, that is, don't think negative self-criticism, you're aware of it and you start having negative thoughts, your subconscious will lead you to a suicidal state. I've never been in a suicidal state. I've had suicidal thoughts, but never been in the position where I would actually and almost have killed myself. I've never been in that position. I think suicidal thoughts are probably somewhat normal, because you don't take them seriously in most cases. But if you are in a subconscious state and you are having these suicidal thoughts, it will probably direct your subconscious to kill yourself. And you need to obviously prevent that. So, and this is just a theory again. I might be entirely off the mark, but this is how I rationalize it in my head, at least, again. So, if you have positive self-criticizing thoughts while you're in the subconscious state, you will directly manipulate almost 80% of your day just by thinking. Isn't that crazy? That's all it takes to... You want to go to work more. I had issues where I was in a terrible mental health state that I wasn't able to go to work. I just didn't have motivation to go to work. And a big part of that was I wasn't having good thoughts about work. I dreaded going to work. I constantly thought about how bad my day was going to be and whatnot. And having those thoughts influenced my subconscious. Of course I didn't go to work. My subconscious wouldn't allow me to go to work. And actually I just thought of a brilliant example of another tangible understanding of what the subconscious is. Everyone relates to this. Have you ever been on your phone and you're on social media and your brain switches off? Yes, everyone's been there. Unless you live under a rock. Or whatever else. Whatever reason, but... that is probably the best one. So when you're on your mobile phone and you're just looking at it, staring at Twitter or whatever, or Discord or YouTube or Twitch, whatever platform, and you just drift off and you start having thoughts, you should become self-aware of that. And it's a good thing for you. And yeah, so that's how you directly influence your subconscious mind into doing what you want. You have to have positive thoughts. I'm sure everyone's thought about it. Like everyone's think of positive thoughts, and everyone tries it and then it doesn't work. Why didn't it work? Because you'd never thought of those positive thoughts in the subconscious state. You only thought of them consciously. You didn't do it in a subconscious state. If you did it in a subconscious state, you would notice change start to happen. Your mind would start to think more positively and more creatively, and you'll start to be able to enjoy life more because of it. And that's a very important thing that you need to grasp and understand. So that is how you use your subconscious mind.